I got to a point in my business where I was working around the clock, I was looking after my family, I was taking care of everybody else. I forgot about me. Hi, it's Melitta Campbell here. And in my last video, I was talking about the one thing to never put on your to-do list. And I thought, why not show you what I do put on my to-do list? Because it's a little bit different to the usual endless long list of things that are never going to get done, that may or may not get done, I should say. So I produce a one-page document. I call it my daily achievement planner. I don't call it a to-do list, but it does have things to do. Right at the very top, I remind myself of what's my big goal. Now, that could be my big goal for my 90 days, because I like to do 90-day projects. It could be my big goal for the month, for the week, for the day. It depends what I'm working on, what my focus is, but I just remind myself of what's that one big goal that I need to keep in my mind that day. So then next to that, I have a little title, and it says, today I will be. I remind myself of my personal brand. Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up for my audience? And this is not me trying to be someone I'm not. We are definitely 100% wanting to show up and be authentic as ourselves, but just reminding me to, for example, one of the things I have on there is to be bold. As you may know, I'm the shy girl. I can very easily hide behind my computer and not put out content and not put out blogs and not comment or do any of the things I know I need to do to make my business visible and connect with my clients and share all this value that's going around in my head with my audience. So one of those is being bold. And being curious is something else. Well, that's interesting. Why did that person say that or do that? Or how can I make this experience better or simpler or smoother? And I always like to, not to assume, but to be a bit curious, ask why things worked or didn't work, or why things are interesting or not interesting to my audience. So these are some of the things that I'll put on there. I just use 3 words. Today I will be reminding myself of how I want to show up for my audience, my personal brand, so I can live in alignment with that. And it's a great way to make sure that I'm in the zone as well as I work on my business. Then I have a little grid, and the grid has 4 sections. The first one says focus. So that's my priority goals for the day. There is a maximum of 3. Sometimes there's only one thing on there. If there's just one big thing I need to get done, and I can end the day feeling accomplished instead of feeling, oh, I only did these 10 things and I didn't get to those 200. I just put that one thing down. So that's my priority goal, maximum 3. And what I'll do next to them is I'll just make a note of how long that's going to take me, so I can schedule my time accordingly. I can make sure that I've got time for lunch, time for taking a break, time for taking the dog out, and I can fit things in a way that's not going to make me feel stressed or overwhelmed. It's going to work with my schedule, my other commitments for the day. Then I have underneath that a title saying up next, and that's other things on my to-do list. So those will be my sort of to-do tomorrow. But if I finish my focus goal for today and I have a bit more time and I'm motivated, then I can choose to move on to those other items as well and tick a few more things off, because it is always nice to tick things off, right? And feel like you're a bit of ahead of the curve. So the up next is other things I can be working on next once I've done my priorities. Then I've got queue. So in my queue, it's the things that are coming up for me in the next week, month, quarter, whatever time frame makes sense. And what this does is just helps me to have a bit of a helicopter view of what's going on in my business. And if a new opportunity comes up, I can see in my queue, do I have time for this opportunity? Can I make this work for me? Is this something I say yes to now and push something else, so I don't get overwhelmed? I'm not putting too much on my plate. I'm really being objective with the things I say yes and no to. The other thing I've got then in the final square on my grid is manage. So these are things that I just need to keep an eye on. I don't necessarily need to do myself. So these could be tasks that my VA is working on. It could be the homework I need to check that my kids do. Anything that I need to be keeping an eye on, not forget about altogether, but I don't need to do myself. The next thing I have right in the middle of my daily planner is a little section I call mind, body, and soul. And this is really important to me because it is so easy for us, particularly when you're working at home, you have no one else around like I do, apart from the dog, who's might hear her snoring. It's really easy to start work and just keep going. I've got so many interesting things I want to do. There's so many things that excite me. It's very easy for me, and I'm sure it's the same for you, just to start working and not take a break, not stop. So putting this right in the middle of my to-do list reminds me every day to do something for my mind. So this is personal development. It could be watching a video, listening to a podcast, reading a few pages of a book, anything that's going to be part of my personal development. Because as CEO of our business, of ourselves, we have to take responsibility. We have to invest in our own learning and development. And it's great to do that every single day so you can keep learning and growing, staying inspired, and surrounding yourself with great ideas, great voices, great advice. The next section is body. So these are things that I do to maintain my wellness. So things like drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, getting some exercise, eating healthily. And the last part is soul. And this part was important for me to put in because I got to a point in my business where I was working around the clock. I was looking after my family. I was taking care of everybody else. I forgot about me. And very often you hear gurus saying, yeah, stay up till 2 a.m, messaging people, always be hustling on the go. And that's fine to a point. But if you are never giving yourself the space to relax, to switch off, to do things that make you smile, then what's the point? You're going to burn out, and you have to have fun along the way. And Richard Branson said, if it's no longer fun, stop doing it. And I love that quote. In fact, that quote got me to stop my consultancy, which was bringing in like 6 figures. It was work I could do to a high standard, and I had a great reputation for it. I built an amazing brand, but it wasn't fun anymore. I wasn't learning or growing. My health was suffering because I was focusing on everyone else. And so this soul part, it could be me time, but it's anything that you do in the day, and it's just for you, just to make you feel good, just to make you smile. And this is not your personal development or your well-being, but just for your soul. And this can be playing Candy Crush or watching Netflix, if that's what makes you feel good and really makes you feel it's a worthwhile waste of time. So you've got the mind, your personal development, your body, taking care of your well-being and your good health, and then soul, something just for you, guilt-free, to enjoy each day. Then at the bottom, I've got today's affirmation to keep my mind in the right space. And then I've got my gratitude. I used to do that in the evening and just write down the 3, and then it's quickly ramped up from 3, but it was 3 to start with, 3 things I was grateful for that day. And that's now something that I do randomly in the day. I will have a pause. Sometimes it's a point where my mind wanders a little bit, not in a useful way. And I bring myself back and I stop in that moment, say, what am I grateful for right now? And doing it in the moment makes it much easier because you can look around you. So I'm grateful that I have a computer and a microphone that I can record this video for you. I'm grateful that I have this jumper in a color that makes me smile and it's nice and cozy because it's quite cold here today. I'm grateful that I have a husband who built me this amazing office. You can't see it, but it's got a wonderful view and he's done an amazing job. So it's very easy in the moment just to stop, look around you. It's like, right now, what am I grateful for? And that I find really powerful, and it brings me back, centers me, reminds me that there is a lot of good in the world, and gets me in a space where I'm looking forward to moving forward. So that's how I create my to-do list. Now, you are very welcome to copy that completely if it helps you. And I know a lot of my clients have turned this into a Trello board and a Trello app. that then they can track every day and make sure that they are focusing on just their priorities, the 1 to 3 priorities, keeping everything else in check and in balance, making sure they're looking after themselves, investing in themselves, their development, their health, their well-being, their happiness, and all of that together. But have a think, what's important for you? Maybe there's something in that that's resonated with you and you think, yeah, absolutely, I want to put that on my list. But maybe there's something else, like that mind, body, soul. That was something that I put on my to-do list purposely after coming very close to a burnout in my first business. And I realized this was it. I was earning a lot of money. I was doing great work. I was working with important people, but I wasn't growing. I wasn't looking after my health and I wasn't having fun. So putting that mind, body, and soul in the middle is my way of making sure I never cross that boundary and step back into that potential burnout zone. But think what is important for you, customize this as you like, and have fun with it. But one thing I would encourage you to do is not to just have a big long to-do list that's going to, at the end of the day, have you feeling depressed that you haven't got to it all, but instead one that's going to help you feel at the end of the day, yes, I had a great day today. Even if things didn't go according to plan, you had some growth, you had some time for yourself, you got ticked off some of your priorities, and you showed up as your authentic self. So let me know in the comments, how do you approach your to-do list? Has this been helpful? Are you going to try this? And what else do you want to know when it comes to growing a business, having a bigger impact, and not burning out and feeling overwhelmed or fake in the process? Let me know underneath and I'll create some more content for you.